This week, the HPT finishes our California swing and wraps up the Gold Rush Series at the Club One Casino in Fresno, California. We started this event with almost 300 players, and now we are down to the final 9. Among them is 2007 WSOP main event champion Jerry Yang and poker legend and Poker Hall of Fame inductee Barbara Enright. HPT history could be made as we begin the final grind to our newest champion. Over $85,000 is waiting for the last player standing.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gon' cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello, friends, and welcome once again to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel, she is Maria Ho, and we are at one of our newest and already favorite stops on the tour, the Club One Casino in Fresno, California. Maria, this week I have enjoyed great people, great food, great poker action, and nightly drinking games that have humbled me. What else could you want in an HPT event?
How about a final table with all kinds of fun storylines, historical implications, and life-changing money waiting up top? Yotam Shmoylov is making his second final table in as many weeks. He finished third at Thunder Valley in Lincoln, California last week. Joining him is 2007 WSOP main event champion Jerry Yang, and an unprecedented 4 ladies are at this final table. Among them is poker legend Barbara Enright.
Barbara is the first and only female to make a WSOP main event final table. She was the first woman to win a bracelet in a WSOP Open event, and she was the first woman to win 3 WSOP bracelets. In 2007, she was inducted into Poker's Hall of Fame, but what she's missing in her impressive career is an HPT championship.
Barbara and Jerry have played on poker's biggest stage, but the other 7 players starting tonight all have had success in the game and are looking to be our newest champion.
We are going to have a lot of fun watching this. Let's take a look at the money up for grabs tonight, the starting chip counts, and then get right to the action.
First place is a healthy $85,000 and change, all the way down to our 9th place finisher who will be going home with at least $9,000.
85 grand up top, not bad for a weekend of poker. Let's take a look at the starting chip counts.
As you can see, we have 3 players in the Million Chip Club. James Jeff leading the way with $1.5 million. Trait Nguyen with just over $1.26 million. And we've seen him before, Yotam Shmoylov, our 3rd place finisher from Thunder Valley with $1.25 million.
The blinds at this final table starting off at 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante, and it looks like under the gun is Lisa Jacobs. She's gonna fold over to Mimi Lou now.
Quite the character Mimi is. I've played with her several times and she loves to chat you up.
She is vocal at the final table. Yotam wakes up with King Jack offsuit, and he's gonna open the pot to 40,000. Barbara Enright next, a legend at this final table. Barbara Enright, she's folding. Now we move over to James Jeff. He wakes up with Ace Queen. And he's going to make the call.
I like that James is just going to flat Ace Queen here against Yotam's under the gun raise. I think James just wants to play some small ball and see a flop with this hand.
Well, this hand's going to get a lot more interesting. Mike Ball peels back pocket 10s. And he's just going to flat. Maria, I kind of would have liked to have seen a 3-bet here. What do you think?
Well, I think that the main factor that should go into Mike's decision making is, does he want to get in 29 big blinds with 10s? When you face an under the gun raise and a caller, you kind of have to wonder if you're ahead of their range. And I think the reason Mike's just calling here is because he wants to proceed with caution and he doesn't want a 3-bet, because if he faces a 4-bet, he's either going to have to go with the 10s or fold.
Well, action has been folded around now to WSOP main event champion Jerry Yang. And he is going to 3-bet it with ace-5. Makes it $160,000 to go.
I've got to say, as much as I can appreciate aggression, I just don't think this is a good spot for it. We're still 9-handed. It's full ring. Yotam raised under the gun. You have 2 smooth callers. You've got to think that somebody's got a pretty legitimate hand. and I just wouldn't take this spot to 3-bet light.
Well, Jerry got the original razor to fold, and that's probably the player he's most worried about. But it doesn't look like James is going anywhere with ace-queen. He is going to make the call. And now over to Mike Ball, the man with the best hand in pocket tens. What's he going to do?
I think if I were Mike, I would just fold here because honestly, he only has 579,000 chips coming into this final table. This represents a good portion of his chip stack, and it's really an all-in or fold situation. And because he doesn't know that Jerry is re-raising so light, it's really hard for him to know where he's at, so he should just fold.
Well, he is going to make the call. This is kind of unusual, Maria. Guy makes a squeeze play. You get the original razor to fold, but the other two callers hang out to see a flop.
Yeah, I think this is just representative of these players not really sure where they're at, but not really wanting to fold their hand either. And Jerry can't like the fact that he got the original razor fold, but the two other tag-alongs stuck around.
The flop brings 8, Jack, 5, all clubs. James has the best club with the queen. Mike also has the 10 of clubs. And Jerry Yang staging the continuation bet. 567 in the pot now. Maria, I'm guessing it's going to be around that 300 range.
I don't really like this continuation bet from Jerry. I think he needs to give up on this flop. With two callers and him being out of position with no club in his hand, I think this is the point where Jerry just needs to check and concede.
Well, he obviously isn't listening to you. He has continuation bet to 300,000, and here's James Jeff going all in.
And it looks like Mike Ball thinks he has a decision, but the truth is he has two tens. There's an overcard to his pair, and he also doesn't have the nut club to go with it.
Well, we can see Jerry does have the best hand right now. He's flopped a pair of fives, but statistically speaking, James is the favorite to win this hand after the river, with two overcards and a club draw.
And there's obviously no way Jerry's going to call here, and he's just posturing at this point. I think he put a lot of chips into this pot unnecessarily, and now he's going to have to give up.
Maria, you know Jerry's game better than most. You had some history with him at the World Series of Poker the year you made a deep run.
Yeah, the year that I was last one standing in the World Series of Poker main event and got 38th place, Jerry won. And so Jerry and I go way back, and I appreciate his aggressiveness, but it just didn't work out here.
A little over 2 million in chips going to James's stack as the blinds are going up now. They're 12 and 24,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. Fun week here at Club One Casino in Fresno. The staff couldn't have been more gracious to us. The food is phenomenal. The poker action's been great all week long. Mimi Lou is first to go in this hand. She's going to fold baby connectors. Over to Yotam. Now we're on to Barbara Enright. Barbara, the only female to make a World Series main event final table. She's also the first female to win multiple World Series bracelets. And she's also the first female to be inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame.
I've definitely been chasing Barbara Enright's final table finish in the main event ever since I started playing poker, so good for her.
She's a great lady as well. This is Tret Nguyen. He's going to open the pot with Queen 10, makes it 50,000 to go. And Jerry now with pocket eights.
I believe pocket eights is the hand Jerry won the WSOP main event with, so I'm sure he has some nostalgic ties to this hand.
I haven't won anything but good-sized cash pots with King Queen, and I love that hand. Jerry is going to go all in with the pocket eights.
It is an all-in re-raise by the 9 seed now.
And action is going to be folded around.
Jerry only having about 10 big blinds after that last hand is making the right play here by shoving Trade's late position raise.
Unfortunately for Jerry, it's only 177,000 to call. Cool. And Tret is going to make the call. So Jerry's going to go to the flop ahead, but Tret with two overcards. You can see percentage-wise, it's virtually 50-50 here.
Trait was priced in to make the call, and he's happy to find that he has two overcards.
Queen of spades.
Lace up the sneakers. We're in a race. The flop is 4, 9, 10, and just like that, Tret moves into the lead. Now Jerry hoping to find one of the remaining eights or running straight cards to suck out.
Let's go ahead and turn card, please, Tom.
The turn is the deuce of spades, no help to Jerry. Trate still in the lead.
10-3 in the lead. Jerry looking.
Jerry down to just one card, needs to find an 8 and only an 8 to stay alive at this final table.
The river card is not
And the river is the 6 of spades, and that's not going to do it for the one-time WSOP champion, Mr. Jerry Yang, a good friend of mine. Short-lived final table for him, but I'm sure we'll see him back here soon.
Jerry, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's played many HPT events before. His first final table has him going to the rail with a little over $9,000. More poker from Club One when we come back. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. She's Maria Ho. We are a Jerry Yang light at this final table, but there are still 8 players competing to be the next champion.
And for our updated chip counts, you could see James Jeff has pulled into the chip lead position following that big pot he won off of Jerry. Trate Nguyen is still in second place here, with our short stacks being Mike Bell, Mimi Lou, and Lisa Jacobs, with all less than 20 big blinds.
Unprecedented 4 ladies at our final table here at Club One Casino in Fresno. Maria, when's the last time you've seen 4 ladies at a final table of 9?
I cannot remember the last time I saw that, but I think it's just a testament to the fact that more women are playing poker and playing good poker.
Yeah, out of a field this size, these ladies are not here by luck. Action quickly folded around to one of the ladies at this final table. This is Wendy Friedman. From the little bit I've seen her play before this final table, she seems like a very tight and calculating player, and here she is opening the pot to $52,000 with Queen 10 offsuit.
It looks like she's trying to steal the blinds here with a raise from middle late position with Queen 10 with her 25 big blind stack. I like it.
See what Mimi does with her ace jack. You know, Queen 10 is one of those sneaky hands. You generally, in my experience, you flop potential, at least with a hand like Queen 10.
You definitely hit some Broadway draws with Queen 10.
One thing you don't want to hit with Queen 10 is 2 pair. Then it's a scary board. So Mimi Lou still in the tank with ace jack here, and she is going to re-raise. Makes it $200,000 to go.
And Mimi Lou 3-betting here to $200,000 when she only started this hand with just under $400,000 shows that she is committed to this hand.
Would you recommend she just go all in anyway? I mean, her continuation bet's pretty much going to have to be that kind of a bet. And look at this, the legend Barbara Enright wakes up with the best hand, pocket aces.
200.
Yes.
I don't know, if I were Barbara, I might just call here. She knows that Mimi is pot committed to the hand. Wendy's still left to act behind her, and maybe she wants to try to trap Wendy in there too, but Barbara is going to put in the 4th bet, makes it $500,000. And yes, to answer your question, I think I would have liked to see Mimi just 3-bet shove all in with her 20 big blind stack, but she's definitely going to be committed here either way.
Well, Wendy found out where she was at. She folds right away, and now Barbara's got Mimi in a bit of a corner here.
An unfortunate situation for Mimi is she knows that she's beat, but she has put in so many of her chips in pre-flop. It's so hard for her to fold when she's getting these odds to call, but it's very obvious that she's crushed. I don't think Barbara Enright's putting the 4th bet in here cold without a hand that beats ace jack.
And now Barbara is turning her back to Mimi like, figure it out on your own.
I think this is a really great example of even though you feel like you have the right odds to make a call here, and when you've invested so many of your chips, the truth is when you know that you are absolutely dominated, you have to fold and save your tournament life sometimes.
Well, these players very aware of who Barbara Enright is and what she's done in this game. I don't think they're going to go at her too light. And action in this hand is folded to Miss Enright, and this time she has ace 10 of clubs, and she's announced a raise.
Barbara announces a raise, ladies and gentlemen. I've not got that raise total yet.
Barbara makes it $68,000 to go. Her raise is a little bit on the bigger side, but you can't really get too caught up in the whole 2x or 3x debate these days. I think it really just depends on table dynamics.
Well, James and Mike fold, so does Tret. Now we are on to Wendy Friedman in the 1 seat.
I'm all in.
And look at this, Wendy's going to go all in with Jack Queen, and Barbara quickly going to fold.
I mean, that's definitely a power play from Wendy. She doesn't want Barbara to call, obviously. I don't think she thinks Queen Jack is a great hand. I think she was counting on the fact that she had fold equity, and it was probably a good spot to jam. And Barbara just didn't have a good enough hand to call it with.
Only way to beat Barbara in a pot.
More poker from Club One Casino right after this. Welcome back to the HPT from the Club One Casino here in Fresno, California. What a great time we're having this week in Central California. Let's get right back to the final table.
Trey Nguyen tops the leaderboard with just over 1.6 million. James Jeff follows very closely behind him with 1.58 million. And our short stacks are Lisa Jacobs and Mike Ball with just about 10 big blinds each.
Yeah, Lisa and Mike looking to pick up a hand or just make a move. Blinds continuing on here at 12 and 24,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. As the pitch is complete, it looks like action in this hand will start on Yotam, making a second final table in as many weeks. He's going to fold over to Barbara now with ace-9 of clubs.
And I sense that Barbara's a little bit on the tighter side with her raises pre-flop, but definitely ace-9 is a raising hand.
And she's going to choose that option, makes it 54,000.
Sorry, I didn't know. Do you know who you're messing with?
54,000. The raise by Barbara's to 5-4.
Sweetheart. Did you know that you...
Over to Jimmy. I'm sorry, James.
James Jeff looks down at King Jack off and calls right behind Barbara.
We can hear Mimi over in the 3 seat giving Barbara a little bit of razzing because she raised her big blind.
Action is on
After
Mike
James's
now.
call, action moves over to Mike Ball,
It is
and
a
he's going to go all
re-raise
in
all
with
in
King
now
10.
By Mike. Re-raise all in. Tree's
And
gonna fold
honestly,
from the
Mike
8.
seems like a nice guy, but
Wendy's
man,
gonna
I
fold
do
from the
not
1
like
now
this
over to
play.
Lisa in seat
I
number
don't
2.
think you should be the third person in this pot
That's
when
a
it's
fold
already
by the
raised to you
2
and go
seat
all
by
in with
Wendy.
King 10 when
Over to
you
Mimi
don't
now
have
in
any
the
fold
3
equity
seat.
with 10 big blinds. Not only are you going to get called, but you are
They
for
fold
sure
by the
going
3
to
seat.
be
Barbara
dominated
folds.
or flipping,
Now
and
over
you
to
just really shouldn't put
James.
your tournament life at risk in this particular situation.
Well, so far it is working out well for Mike. He's gotten everybody to fold except James Jeff.
And I don't really think Barbara Enright should have folded there either. I think as the original raiser, and the
Call
fact
has
that it was
been
only
made by James,
154,000
ladies and
to
gentlemen.
call, she should have at
So with
least
that, we
called,
flip over the
if not
cards, and
ISO'd.
the tail of the tape will be this as follows.
Well, James is going to make the call for
King
just
of diamonds,
154,000.
Jack of
He's going to
spades
find
flipped
he
over.
is crushing
For James,
Mike's King
King of
10
diamonds, Jack of spades.
with his King
He is
Jack.
Ahead in the hand, going up against the King of spades, 10 of clubs. Right in the window, the 10
The
of
flop
hearts.
is
For a
3,
flop
7, 10,
of 10 of
and
hearts,
just
7 of
like that,
spades,
Mike
tray
has
of
outflopped
hearts. The
James, and
10's
he has
going in
come
the lead
from way
for
behind
Mike
to
as
take
he's
the
trying
lead
to
in this
double
hand.
up. Let's go ahead and see the
Just
turn
not
card,
fair
please, Andrew.
sometimes, this game of poker.
Turn
James
card
looking
is
for
the
a
7
jack.
of
It doesn't fall on the
diamonds,
turn. It's a
7
7 of diamonds.
So the 10's in
And
the
now
lead.
a jack, and only a jack is
Mike,
going to
let's go
send
ahead
Mike
and
Ball
see.
to the rail. Otherwise,
River
James is
card.
going to double him up.
River card is
The
the
river
4 of
is the
diamonds, so
4 of
winning hand
diamonds,
is
and Mike is going to double up this hand and live to see another day.
of James Jeff.
And just like that, Mike goes from extremely short to a little over $500,000 in chips. That got him some breathing room, but still needs to catch another hand here sooner than later. Blinds continuing at 12 and 24,000 with a 3,000 chip ante, and Mike will be first to go. 9 deuce, not good enough. He's going to fold. Trey folds behind him. Over to Wendy now. Pocket kings. Boy, I run bad with pocket kings.
Huge hand. Actually, funny story. I know people who call it the butchers because you always lose.
Well, Wendy raised. Lisa wakes up with ace king. She's going to go all in, as most players would. And now action on Mimi with ace 7.
And I think this is a fairly easy fold for Mimi. I understand that they raised from late position, but a7 is definitely not good enough to call, and she does fold.
Now we're on to Yotam. He folds. Over to Barbara. She folds. And it folds back around to Wendy, and she makes the quick call with pocket kings. And Lisa is going to see she has just one overcard as we go to the flop. Wendy in a good position to double up, but you know, they call kings
Butchers. It's like going to the butcher.
I've heard them called ace magnets as well.
Absolutely, and Lisa does have an ace in her hand, and you definitely can't fault Lisa for shoving her chip stack in with ace king. It's just unfortunate she ran into a huge hand. The flop is 3-10-3, couple of clubs. No help for Lisa. She's still looking for that ace magnet.
Lisa hoping to hit the card she needs and stay alive at this final table. It does not come on the turn as the 8 of clubs falls, and that's actually a bad card because it takes the ace of clubs away from Lisa. As Wendy now has a club draw.
At the river is the 4 of clubs, and Wendy is going to win this hand, knocking Lisa out in 8th place.
8th place, good money here at the Club One Casino in Fresno, California. Lisa going home with a little over $11,000. A great run for her, and I'm sure we'll see her again real soon. More poker from Club One Casino right after this. Welcome back to the Club One Casino here in Fresno, California. What a great week we have had. We're four-handed, and here's the updated chip count.
5 of the 7 remaining players at this final table have comfortable chip stacks to work with. Mike Bell and Barber and Wright are on the shorter side of things, but 20 big blinds is still plenty.
You can see Wendy Friedman has made the biggest move in the chip ladder. She's gained a little over $450,000 since we last checked in. Blinds going up. They're now 15 and 30,000 with a 4,000 chip ante. Action in this end starts with Trey. He's going to fold queen deuce. Back to Wendy Friedman now. She's going to lay it down. Over to Mimi Lou, one of the biggest personalities at this final table. And she's got a hand, big slick.
Big hand to go with that big personality, and she's still talking though. She's like, well, this ace king can wait.
75K, ladies and gents. Raise to
She's going to raise it up, makes it 75,000 to go. And now we're over to Yotam. He's got ace-jack suited. Boy.
And Yotam showed a lot of restraint with big hands, and he's always up against bigger hands, it seems. And this time again, he will just flat call with ace-jack suited. And I really do like his small ball approach.
Mike wakes up with 6-4 suited in the big blind and says, yeah, why not? I'll see a flop. There's a lot of money in the pot. Getting kind of Walmart prices.
3, 4, and 7.
3-handed to the flop, and the flop is 9-10 queen rainbow. Mimi has flopped a gut shot straight draw. Yotam has flopped an open-ended straight draw, and Mike has flopped not much, but with 6-4, I guess he probably wasn't expecting all that much to begin with.
Yeah, I think Mike was just hoping he'd get the big blind special kind of a flop and crush a couple of big hands here. It didn't work out. I don't expect him to see a turn card.
140.
Mimi is going to do what we expected her to do, which is make a continuation bet to the size of 140,000.
And although this isn't the best flop for Mimi, she has to still put in a continuation bet here because she does have a gut shot for the nut straight, and she doesn't really want to check this flop and give up the lead in the hand.
Well, Yotam makes the call with his open-ended straight draw, and as expected, Mike gets out of the way. So heads up to the turn. Mimi ahead right now, but Yotam with a better draw.
8 of hearts.
And the turn is the 8 of hearts, giving Yotam the queen high straight. Mimi doesn't have much of anything, and this board is starting to look really, really bad for her ace king.
She is going to check. And now Yotam is going to check behind. Tricky, tricky.
Except Yotam's not going to like it if a jack appears.
The river is a 6 of diamonds. Harmless card for Yotam.
And I think he's hoping that Mimi's going to bluff at it, but she doesn't. She's going to check, and now Yotam's going to have to put in a value bet of some sort, but I don't see Mimi paying him off.
And as you predicted, Maria, it is a value bet to 165,000.
And I know Ace King looks so pretty to start, but you just can't get married to it. And I think Mimi really lost the minimum here in this hand. She was never going to get rid of Yotam on the flop, and she really saved herself by not trying to bluff at the pot. It's time to take a break from the action and enjoy our favorite segment here on the HPT of Poker Life featuring Doyle Brunson.
Brought to us by our friends at Ace Play Poker. The legend regales us from stories from yesteryear. Tonight, he's going to tell us a story about how he actually played poker better after beating cancer.
Well, I did start playing better poker after the cancer scare. I think maybe because for the first time in my life that I had some responsibility. I had Louise, and she was pregnant with my first child, and we needed money, and maybe it made me try harder. I don't know. Maybe I developed some kind of a sixth sense or something at that point about people, and I could understand people and their moods and their the way they played poker and so forth. And something happened. I did become a much better player at that point. I don't know why completely.
These players showing us they are not afraid to push chips into the middle. Don't go away. You don't want to miss any of this. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. This is the lovely Maria Ho. We are at the Club One Casino in Fresno, California. Let's get right to the final table.
Tre Nguyen is slowly climbing up and pulling away from the rest of the field here. As you can see, he's approaching 2 million in chips. Everybody else below him is in the safe zone until you get to Mike Bell, Mimi Lou, and Barbara Enright, who have just under 25 big blinds to play with, but that's still plenty. This structure is really great and it allows for so much play.
Action in this hand starts with Mimi. Deuce 5 nowhere near good enough to play in early position. She folds. We're now over to Yotam. And now to Miss Barbara Enright. She's going to lay it down. James Jeff wakes up with a pair of 5s. And he is going to just limp into the pot with a pair.
I think sometimes people look at small pocket pairs and they think, I don't want to invest too much in this pot. I want to try to set mine. But if you're the first person in, I would always be raising if you want to play your pairs.
Action's folded to Wendy in the 1 seat, and she wakes up with another big hand, this time pocket kings. Earlier, we saw her eliminate Lisa Jacobs with pocket kings. She's going to raise it, makes it 80,000 to go.
And obviously, James, because he limped in, he feels like it's a little bit less for him to call now, so he is going to make the call, it looks like, with 5s, hoping to flop a 5. But obviously, small pairs are very, very difficult to play, as almost everything's going to be an overcard to your pair on the flop.
He does make the call, and you know, Maria, when someone limps and then calls a raise, whenever I'm playing, I always put them on a small pair.
Yeah, you can definitely put them on a small pair, or sometimes suited connected hands like 8-7, 9-8. And the flop is 9-8-7 rainbow. I don't think Wendy's loving this flop because of the range of hands you could put your opponents on when they limp call a raise, but she does still continuation bet, and she makes it 100,000 to go.
And James, with a gut shot straight draw, is going to make the call. He might be hoping to see Wendy lock up on the turn and make a play at this pot.
I think this is the point where a lot of players are really hoping they're up against ace-king or ace-queen and thinking, okay, well, low cards on the flop, I must still have the best hand.
The turn delivers the 8 of diamonds. Wendy still with the best hand. And the smooth call by James on the flop doesn't appear to be slowing her down at all. And she is going to push out 120,000. Slightly bigger bet than she made on the flop.
It's still a little bit on the smaller side in comparison to the pot. It's a little over a third of the pot here. And I think there was 2 ways Wendy could have played this hand on the turn. She could have check called here, but I think she believes that she still has the best hand here. And now James is going to put her to the test, though, by going all in.
James not believing Wendy is sitting on a big pair. He must have her on that ace-king or something. And Wendy doesn't look like she's going to make the call.
And I'm surprised and impressed here that James has decided to turn his pair into a bluff. I'm not sure if he knows he's turning his hand into a bluff or if he's just thinking he's trying to protect his hand from a hand like ace-king. But either way it worked. He gets Wendy to fold. And you know, as long as you win the pot, sometimes it doesn't really matter how you go about it.
See the bluff. It'll make it to TV.
Well, the all-in worked that time for James. And as they say in this game, the all-in works every time but the last time.
Good bet.
Blinds are going up. They're now 20 and 40,000 with a 5,000 chip ante. You can see Wendy trying to shake off that fold she just had to make.
That was a huge laydown that she had to make, but you know, it's really hard when flops come down like that and you really don't know what your opponent has when they limp call.
Wendy's going to sit out this hand as well as Mimi. Action now on Yotam. He folds. Over to Barbara Enright. She's got pocket nines, and she is all in.
And Barbara Enright with just under 10 big blinds is going to move all in with nines here.
She gets James and Mike to fold. And now we're on to Tret, and he is going to make the call with pocket fours.
It's definitely a call that he has to make with his pair in the big blind.
And both players table the hand, and Barbara finds she is way ahead.
Two red fours.
She's a 4-1 favorite to survive this hand and double up.
And the flop is 10-4-6, and unfortunately for Barbara, Tret has flopped a set.
And you hear Barbara say she knew it. Sometimes you just feel the bad beat coming, and it has come.
Oh, no.
And the turn is the king of diamonds, and Barbara's looking for a 9 and only a 9 on the river, or else she's going to be our 7th place finisher.
And you can see Barbara not expecting it as she's already halfway out the set. The river is the 10 of clubs, not the card she needed. And just like that, Maria, I don't want to, but we have to say goodbye to the legend, Barbara Enright. She is as sweet as she is ruthless at the poker table. One of the best people I've met, and a woman that deserves the respect of anybody that plays this game. She's standing by with James Larson.
I'm now joined with Barbara Enright, and that's no fun to go out. You flip over the nines, he's got fours, you're ahead, but unfortunately the flop wasn't so good.
And I had a feeling.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah, but you played great all tournament long, and you're going home with a nice little payday, just over $13,000. How's that feel?
That's nice.
Good. All right, well, thanks so much for playing. And instead of shaking your hand, actually, I'm going to give you a hug. That's Hall of Famer Barbara Enright playing our HPT final table, going out in 7th. Maria and Fred, we'll send it over to you.
We started with 9. We are down to 6. More poker from Club One Casino in Fresno right after this. Welcome back to the HPT from Fresno, California, off Highway 99, the biggest city to not be on the federal interstate system. Little tip I got from Greg Raymer. These players are competing for life-changing money and the newest HPT champion. Let's get right back to the final table.
Tret Nguyen is our first player, over $2 million in chips. Yotam Shmoilov is just under $1.5 million. And unfortunately, the 2 remaining women here at this final table are short stacks.
Wendy Friedman with 22 big blinds, Mimi Lou with just 11 big blinds. Wendy a little more room to play, but not much. Rooting for one of these ladies to make the top 3. That would be awesome.
Blinds are still 15-30 with a 4K ante.
And action starts in this hand with Yotam. He quickly folds, as well as James. We're over to Mike Ball. He's got suited connectors. Suited connectors, you know, when you're the first to enter the pot, I like playing those kind of hands. They're fun.
Yeah, I think it's fine to be the first to enter a pot with suited connected hand as long as you come in with a raise.
And that's what Mike is going to do. Makes it 110,000.
And that is a huge raise by Mike. It's almost 4 times the big blind. And I think sometimes that's a little bit telling of the strength of your hand. I feel like some players raise on the bigger side when they're just trying to steal the blinds with a marginal or weak hand. And that kind of seems to me like that's what Mike is doing here.
Well, Trey is going to 3-bet it with pocket fours. He's running really well with fours, as we saw him knock out Barbara Enright a moment ago. But Wendy Friedman is the one that's really in a pickle here. She wakes up with pocket tens.
All in.
And she's going to go all in.
And I really do like Tret's 3-bet here with fours against Mike's late position raise, but unfortunately it's going to make him committed here to call Wendy's all in. And Wendy definitely did do the right thing here by 4-bet shoving her tens here with her 22 big blind stack.
That's a stack for me.
Action now on Mike. He was the original raiser. I can't see him at all continuing in this hand after the 4th bet. He folds, and now we're over to Trey.
Tret doesn't like it, but as you can see, it's $479,000 for him to call. The pot is just under $1.5 million, and he's got to hope that he's flipping against ace king or ace queen or something like that.
I don't see Trent making the call myself, but he does make it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the call.
What do I know? So Wendy is going to find she is way ahead here going to the flop, but as I mentioned a minute ago, Trent knocked out Barbara Enright with pocket fours, so he must really like pocket fours.
Well, he was getting almost 4-1 on the call, and as you can see, his odds to hit a 4 here are 4-1.
Well, Wendy hoping she can double up and make a run at this final table. The flop is King, Deuce, King. The 10 survived the flop.
And so far, Wendy got a better flop than Barbara did against Trent's fours. She's hoping the rest of the board is just going to run out clean for her so she can double up.
The turn is the 6 of hearts, no help to Trey. So 1 street and 2 cards left to fade here.
Nice.
Oh, he's jinxing it.
Oh, come on, Wendy, don't be superstitious. The river is a 5 of diamonds, and she will double up here. 10s are going to hold up.
And just like that, Wendy goes from one of the shorter stacks to almost 2 million in chips. Shows you how quick momentum can change in no limit poker.
And unfortunately for Trent, that hand cost him a lot of chips, but he took a good spot 3-betting there. He just ran into a bigger hand.
See that Wendy has stacked her almost 2 million in chips, and she's first to act here. She's gonna fold over to Mimi.
I'm all in.
Mimi looks down at ace-king suited, and she's going to be all in for her 10 big blinds.
I ain't letting them push me around anymore.
Ace-king, good enough for Mimi to go all in, and look at this, Mike Ball also has a hand. He might give her some action.
Mike looks down at ace-jack, and that's definitely a good enough hand to call Mimi's 10 big blind stack all in with.
Now he's going to re-raise all in.
And he's going to shove all in as well. But unfortunately for him, Trey wakes up here with pocket kings behind him, and he is going to try to knock both of these players out right now.
We can see we have the main pot at 2.3 million, the side pot at 1.6.
Okay, baby, give me hearts.
Mimi's looking for an ace or some hearts to survive here, and it's pretty bleak for Mike, as if you were to flop an ace, he's outkicked by Mimi, so he doesn't have quite as many options, and Trit's just hoping his king's gonna hold up here.
For a quest.
Please.
Here is the flop. It is 10, 4, 9, 2 hearts.
Baby. Heart, please, baby. Please. Heart, please. Heart, baby. Heart,
She's
please.
sounding a little bit like Scotty Wen here with her babies.
Do's a heart.
Calling for a heart.
Please,
A heart
baby.
would give Mimi the nut flush. The turn is the jack
Okay,
of clubs.
give me a
Trip
queen,
still
baby.
in the lead.
Mike is hoping to find another jack or an ace. That turn card hurt Mimi. She is now just down to a heart or a queen. And Trey hoping to fade everything
come on, baby.
and knock out 2 players at this final table.
And the river is the biggest brick. Deuce of clubs here, and Trit is going to knock out both of these players. Mimi Lou is going to be our 6th place finisher, and Mike Ball is going to follow her out the door as our 5th place finisher, leaving Trit to be a massive chip leader here in 4-handed play.
We started with 9, and in one hand we are knocked down to 4 as we grind to a champion here at the Club One Casino in Fresno, California, right after this. Welcome back to the Club One Casino here in Fresno, California. What a great week we have had. We're 4-handed, and here's the updated chip count.
With that double elimination, we are short-handed with 4 players left vying for that HPT title. Trit Nguyen is in good shape to be our next HPT champion as he leads the final 4 with over 2.6 million, but the rest of the players all have enough chips to really give him a run for his money.
Yeah, everybody, Maria, over 1 million in chips. The smallest stack still with 30 big blinds. This is where the poker's really going to start to get fun to watch. Short-handed, the ranges are going to open, the action's going to heat up a little bit. Jeff folds under the gun. We go to Tret. He's got pocket 9s.
And Trit has just been a card rack here at this final table. Pocket 9s 4-handed is a huge hand. He's going to open from the button here.
Makes it 120,000 to go. So we move over to Wendy Friedman, the last remaining woman at this final table. We started with 4 ladies at this final table. And she is going to 3-bet it, makes it 265,000.
And I'm not sure if Wendy just really likes Queen Jack. Maybe that's her favorite hand, like King Queen is your favorite hand. Or, you know, she just feels like it's a good spot to be aggressive. But we've seen her 3-bet earlier with Queen Jack, and this time she does it again. Trick calls the 145,000 more with 9s.
So on to the flop we go. Wendy is behind, but she's got 2 overcards.
And the flop is 7, ace, deuce, rainbow. And the good news for Wendy is that because she did 3-bet pre-flop, she could rep this ace fairly easily. And we'll just see if Trick gets scared off by that overcard or if he's going to stick it out.
Well, Wendy follows through and makes it 270,000 to go on the flop, and that's got pocket nines thinking. You make a great point. The 3-bet pre-flop allows her to represent a big hand here. But looks like Trait's not buying it. He makes the call.
And I think this is where a double barrel by Wendy is going to work really well. Most people will look you up on the flop by calling once, especially because you are shorthanded and like you said, the ranges are wider. But, you know, when you fire that second barrel, Trait might just go away.
Well, I'm sure Trait is looking to see what Wendy does here on the turn as it brings the 2 of hearts. Wendy first to act, checking here would just scream weakness, wouldn't it?
If she checks, she's essentially giving up on this pot here. And if I were Trit, I would probably just check back here. I don't think there's much value in betting, but at the same time, if he does feel very strongly that he has the best hand, you know, he may just try to go for value.
And that's what he is doing. He's betting $500,000 here. And Wendy with just queen high, I can't see her continuing in this hand. I like what you said earlier, Maria. A double barrel here might have gotten Trait to lay down the pocket nines, but checking there on the turn pretty much says I don't have an ace, and she is going to have to lay it down. One thing I love about Wendy's game is she doesn't panic. She had to fold kings earlier, and that wasn't a good fold. Here it was a good fold, but either way, she's been unfeathered at this final table.
Yeah, like you said, Wendy does choose her spots to be aggressive, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but, you know, never hurts to try at the poker table.
Blinds moving up again. They're now 25 and 50,000 with a 5,000 chip ante. And it looks like our chip leader, Trait Nguyen, is under the gun. He's got Jack 6 of hearts.
And I think with the chip lead and playing four-handed, I would have liked to see him open that hand. I think it's very important when you do have the chip lead to continue to put the pressure on the remaining players because, you know, you're looking for that top spot.
Here comes Wendy Friedman again, this time with 9-10. She's going to make it 100,000 to go. That's going to get rid of Yodam. All she has to do is get rid of James Jeff now.
James is going to defend with this hand from the big blind. And the flop is 10-8-3 rainbow. Wendy's flop top pair here. James hasn't connected.
James out of position in this hand.
150.
And it looks like he is going to donk bet, as Maria calls it.
He's just going to lead into the pre-flop raiser here. And like I said, sometimes it's very apparent when somebody leads into the pre-flop aggressor that, you know, they don't have much. But that's also a good reason to donk bet sometimes when you flopped a huge hand and are hoping that it looks weak to your opponent. But in this case, Wendy has flopped top pair and she's not going to go anywhere.
Wendy makes the call as the pot inflates to just over $500,000 in chips. The turn is the 8 of diamonds. That could be a scare card. Again, James first to act. Bluffing out of position might be one of the most ill-advised things you can do at a poker table.
I think it's fine to bluff out of position as long as your line makes sense. When you really think about it, when somebody comes in with a raised pre-flop and you just call out of position, would you be betting into them on the flop or would you be checking it over to them most of the time? And so, you know, Wendy has top pair here and she's not going to go anywhere.
Wendy is on your wavelength. She's not scared at all at a $250,000 chip bet on the turn after the board pair. She makes the call.
And the river is the queen of spades, and James got lucky and he rivered a bigger 2 pair than Wendy. He has queens and 8s now, and now he's just going for value. The bluff is no longer needed.
An unlucky river card for Wendy as James connects top pair, and she didn't fold for $250 on the turn. I don't see her folding for $350 on the river. And yep, Wendy sees she just got rivered.
I think you could make a case for her folding on the river just because the straight draw of Jack-9 did come in, and also she has to think, would James really bluff 3 streets here with stone cold air? And I think she could have made a case for folding, but like you said, they made a smallish bet on the river, and she just didn't believe him and wanted to look him up.
No one's going to debate the fact that poker is a game of skill, but the fact is you do have to get a little lucky throughout the tournament to be able to take it down, and James Jeff just got a big dose of that, scooping a 1.7 million chip pot. Now, Maria, very dynamic table here at the Club One Casino in Fresno. What is your take on the play so far?
It's been unlike other final tables in the past. Usually players start out slow, feeling each other out, but with 5 eliminations already, these players are ready to go and they just want to end it. I would just caution these players that although they are shorthanded already, to start reeling it back in a little bit because there's been a lot of pushback at this table.
It's going to be a fun finale. Who's going to win this? You have to find out next time here on the HPT. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit under the national spotlight of the HPT and sit at a final table and compete for life-changing money? Well, check out our website at hptpoker.com and find an event near you. For James Larson and Maria Ho, I'm Fred Bevel. Thank you so much for watching the HPT.